The workshop productivity number that no one talks about. The average auto repair shop across Australia and New Zealand is sitting at 62% team productivity. Now that sounds fine until you actually do the maths. 62% productivity means 38% of every workday is going unaccounted for. And in a 10-hour day, that's nearly 4 hours per technician. Every single day. That's time you're paying wages for, but it's time that you're not billing a customer for. Now, across a team of 3, that's a full second working day disappearing quietly, invisibly, every single day. Now, here's what most shop owners don't know. The reason this keeps happening is the same reason you can't see it. Your team looks busy. The phones are ringing, the bays are full, cars are coming in, cars are going out. People are moving around constantly. And busy is what you've been measuring. Busy is what you've been trusting. Busy is the disguise unproductive time wears, so you never go looking for it. Now, this isn't a workload problem. It's not a hiring problem. It's a visibility problem, and it's not what you think. Now, in a minute, I'm going to show you exactly where those 4 hours are going, where that time is leaking out every single day, and I'm going to reveal for you the number every A-grade auto repair shop owner is measuring that almost nobody else is. And if you want to start fixing this in your shop, I've got a free resource for you. The links are in the description box below. You can come back and grab it at the end of today's episode. First model I want to talk to you about is called the time bomb. Now, across a day, right? Every job that comes through your shop runs on a production line. Cars come in, there's a bunch of work gets done, and the car goes out. But it's never that simple, is it? There's a start point and an end point. The customer drops the car off, the car gets driven out, and that seems to be the line. But this is the thing that nobody draws on the whiteboard when you're writing up your jobs and who's doing what for the day. What people don't understand is that line, this line here, it's not sealed. It leaks, and it leaks the whole way along. And every leak point along that line, a tech is on the clock, but the customer is never going to pay for it. So let's name what these leaks are. The first leak is admin. Right? This is where your tech is filling in paperwork. It's where they're updating the job cards halfway through that job. It's where the tech goes and talks to the service advisor about the next job before the current one is done. It's time that gets wiped off, unaccounted for, and disappears. The second is cleaning. Techs are wiping their benches. They're sweeping the bays. They're putting all the tools away. They're walking to and from the parts room. Again, it's time that is allocated to a job, but it's never accounted for. What about all the calling? Right? This is the ringing around for parts. It's chasing up a supplier. It's waiting on the phone while the person your techs are talking to, or your service advisor is talking to, is going to do something else. It's all that time spent listening to hold music while a customer's car sits up on the hoist with the bonnet open. And the last part, let's call this E and A. This is everything and anything else. It's the catch-all. It's anything that isn't the tech with their head under a bonnet or under a vehicle with their hands actually on the job. And all of it is time that you, as the owner, pay for. And none of it is time that you're probably billing for. And that is the time bomb. So I had a shop owner, a member of our engine room. on one of our coaching calls was telling me last week that he was absolutely positive that the team that he had was flat out. And he was telling me that the team couldn't possibly take on any more jobs or any more work. And all I asked him to do was one thing. I just simply said, for 1 week, get every one of your techs to write down what they actually did in 15-minute increments. Right? So 1 hour was 4 15-minute increments. And all I said was just get them to track what they're doing. Didn't ask for it to be on a fancy computer screen, on a whiteboard, just simply old style, pen and paper, just track it down, dot points, what they did and the time they did it for. I didn't want them to change anything else. And when I caught up with him on his tune-up call the following week, it was almost like he was white as a ghost, because it turned out that across the 3 techs that he had on his team, he was losing about 22 billable hours every week. 22 hours. That's nearly a full day of paid work per tech in a week. Now, he was actually about to hire a 4th tech, but it turns out, based on that little exercise that I asked him to do, was that he didn't need a 4th tech. He just needed to stop the time that was leaking out from the 3 techs that he already had. Now, our next question is, where do you actually sit on a productivity ladder? So let's take a look at this now. Let's call these, once I can pinch this down to size, there we go. Right, I call this the productivity ladder. So let's look at 3 shops 1, 2, and 3. 3 numbers, but they're doing the same trade. So let's look at shop number 1. Right, this is the average auto repair shop across Australia and New Zealand, which is currently sitting at 62% productivity. What could I say about this shop? Right, well, I could probably tell you that they're not running continuous keys to keys time clocking. What that means is that the job cards they're probably getting filled in rather loosely. Sometimes maybe it's being done retrospectively. So after the job's been done, a tech's going back and trying to remember what time they spent doing the tasks, the repairing, the diagnosing in that job. But in many cases, the job card probably never got filled out at all. Now, in this type of shop, I would know with a large degree of confidence that the owner couldn't tell me right now who is on what job. The owner couldn't tell me how much time was billable yesterday. There would be no daily number that he's tracking or the team is working for. There would be no weekly number that's being used to measure productivity against or progress against. And ultimately, there would be no benchmark that anyone is being held to. And if you're thinking right now, well, I could never, ever get my team to continuously time clock on a job, they just wouldn't do it, that's a leadership issue. And I've already shot one of these episodes about that exact issue. So go through the list here and find that episode on keeping your team accountable. But in this shop, what do we also know? Well, right now we know that up here there is 38% of time that is going unbilled. Across a 10-hour day, that's nearly 4 hours of time that you're paying your techs for, or this owner is paying their techs for, that they are never billing the customer for. If you don't measure the productivity level of your team, then you're going to sit somewhere in here. 62% productivity, 38% of time unaccounted for. Your team is not broken. It's simply that what you need to measure is not there. Let's look at shop 2. For shop 2 here in the middle, now we're looking at, let me get it back. There we go. Now we're looking at a productivity level of 85%. right? This is the benchmark productivity level for a solidly profitable auto repair shop across Australia and New Zealand. Now, what do I know about this shop? Well, this shop will be measuring their productivity per tech, per day, per week. Job cards are being filled in continuously. Every tech is clocking on and clocking off every job, every time. The owner knows what was produced yesterday. They know what was produced today. The team knows how they performed yesterday, what they produced today. There's a number on the board. There is accountability across all the team for that number. It is visible, and when something leaks, when productivity drops either per tech or per the team, somebody on the team notices. Now, this shop 2, will be making considerably more money than shop number 1. And they'll be doing that with the exact same team. So same number of techs, same number of hoists, same number of hours in the day, but there is just simply a different level of visibility over what the team is producing. Now, you're probably thinking, okay, but what's this space up here for? Well, they're not selling off all their time. What have they got left here? Well, if you're doing your numbers right, you'll be right. It's 15%. But that 15% is being held back deliberately in the daily bookings to account for upsells and cross-sells. Why? Well, because here the average repair order will be higher based on the additional recommended work that each tech is identifying and relaying to the service advisor, who then puts that back to the customer of that vehicle as an opportunity to increase the revenue made on each job that the tech is currently working on in that day. Techs aren't doing more jobs, they're simply generating higher average repair orders from the jobs they're already doing. What about shop number 3? You're dying to know, and great question. Shop number 3, well, they're already full. What does that mean? Well, pretty amazing, right? Right here, they're at 100% productivity. But up the top here, yep, you're right. Here is a bonus 20%. Overall, this shop 3, is at 120%. Well, this is one of our clients. Regan's been working with us just over 4 years now. He started in the engine room. He is now a member of our $1 Million Mechanics Boardroom program. And in March, his team productivity number was 120%. Now, what that means is his team billed more hours in a day and a week than they technically had to sell. And before you start saying to yourself, or anyone says to you, well, that's just not possible, it 100% is, or in this case, it 120% is. When you measure productivity properly, when you measure effective labor rate alongside that, when you have systems in place that let your A-grade technicians just do their best work without getting distracted, amazing things happen. When you've removed the distractions, when you've stopped the team having to chase parts all the time, when you remove the admin tasks and you stop dragging them away from the jobs they've got to do, suddenly productivity goes to a whole new level. Now, Regan's techs aren't running around aimlessly. They're not stressed out. They're not busy in the way that most owners would describe it. They're productive. They're focused. They're efficient. What his team puts out in an hour, most teams don't put out in a day. And that is the number one difference between a team that is busy and a team that is productive. Now, you've seen this ladder 62% productivity, 85% productivity, and a team that is not only 100% productive, but gives you 20% of bonus productivity. Now, in a minute, I'm going to talk through the 3 questions that you can ask yourself to know exactly which one of these ladders you're currently sitting on right now. But I mentioned that free resource. It's called the Daily Huddle. Well, this is the 15-minute morning meeting rhythm that we teach inside the engine room to help our members create exactly the kind of visibility we just talked about across your team. Essentially what it does, it helps you to be very, very clear at the start of every day who's doing what job, where the time on that job is going, and more importantly, where are the leaks occurring for your team on the jobs that they're doing. The link is in the description box below. You can go and grab it now. Here's a key line. A busy team is not a productive team. If you're not measuring productivity, you're actually giving away time for free, and I'm pretty sure you're running a business, not a charity. Because here's what every owner tells me after they put the first productivity measurement system in place. The A and B grade techs on their team suddenly feel like they're winning. For the first time, their output becomes visible, and someone, their boss, maybe you, is finally noticing what they produce. And of course, you're probably asking yourself, well, what does that mean for the C and D grade techs? Well, the C and D grade techs suddenly feel watched, and some of them you will see an uplift in their productivity. Why? Because the act of observation creates that which is observed. If you are watching them for increased productivity, the most likely result is that their productivity will increase. But some of them also sort themselves out, and they highlight themselves as unproductive D-grade team members, and you don't have to make the call to let them go. They will remove themselves. But either way, the team, your team, gets better without you having to have a single hard conversation. So here's 3 questions that you can ask yourself right now. First one, do you know the productivity percentage of each tech in your shop across the last week? If you don't know that, and it's okay if you don't, then that is your first gap to close. You don't need more team members. It's simply you need to start measuring what each team member is producing per day in your auto repair business, because you can't manage what you can't see. Second question, let's say you pay your team for 10 hours each day, right? It's simple maths. Of the 10 hours you're paying your team each day, if you're paying for 8, call it 8 hours, right? How many of those hours are being lost? Is it 1 hour? Is it 2 hours? Is it 4 hours? Right? And don't guess this. Audit it for 1 week. Like that owner I told you about earlier, have your team track exactly what they're doing in 15-minute increments across each day for 1 week only. If they don't want to do that, that's a leadership issue. Go and check out that other episode. Remember the owner I was talking to you about, it was 22 billable hours per week across a team of 3. That's 7 hours per tech in a week. That's a whole day. Whole day of time that's unaccounted for, unbilled, and you're not getting paid for. But when you track it, what you discover is you probably don't have a workload problem. You simply have a problem with time leaking out of every job. And the third question, if your shop is at 62%, what would it be worth in real dollars to get it to 85? Like, what would the actual difference be to your bottom line and your back pocket? Like, literally, run the numbers. For most shops, it's tens of thousands of dollars in revenue across a year. And it's time that you've already paid wages for, but you're simply not collecting the cash for that time. This is one of the fastest ways to lift profit in your auto repair shop. It's not by winning more work. It's not by raising your prices, although those two things help. but it is simply just billing for the time you are already paying your team for. And that is one of the things that we work on inside the engine room. We call it the productivity power up. It's about measuring your productivity, your team's productivity, lifting your team's productivity, and then locking that in as the new baseline for the standard of productivity for every tech, every day, every week. Busy is input, but productivity is output. And you can't measure what you can't manage, and you cannot bill what you cannot see. A busy shop hides where money is leaking, but a productive shop owns those leaks and actively works to fix them. Now, if this episode has you thinking differently about your auto repair shop, and you'd like to find out how we help auto repair shop owners stop giving away their team's time for free, click the links in the description box below. There's no pressure. You're not suddenly going to get a phone call from someone on our team. It's just simple. It's just clear information that's going to help you figure out whether now is the right time and whether we might be the right fit to help you with your auto repair business. See you on the next episode of the A Grade Auto Repair Shop Show.